Yeah. Okay, we're recording.
Alrighty. So, well, did we decide we're going to do caddy or we're going to do a runtime? That second thing was more toward a runtime.
Well, I don't know.
Let's start with the runtime. How about we start with the runtime?
Okay.
All right, cool. That'll get us our first baby step toward Roxy on Substrate with hashgraph consensus. Today we take the first step. So, oh, Adi, hello.
Hey, how you going?
Hey, Adi.
Hey, Heidi, we're doing Substrate today.
Sweet.
And I've been following the Substrate stuff.
Very, very loosely.
Yeah, this was Substrate is something that I brought that I got interested in a couple months ago and then got a job in, so now I have plenty of time to talk about it. So I've been contributing it here too.
Sweet.
So, okay, so we're going to try to write a runtime. And the runtime that I had in mind today is, maybe we can call it like store bit or something. It's basically our blockchain's job is going to be to reach consensus over a single bit, like when we were doing Casper binary consensus. But the difference is instead of like reaching a conclusion like the bit is 1 and then just calling it a day, we want our chain to keep going. So we'll expose methods. One method to set the bit or like make it true, one method to clear the bit, make it false, and one method that just toggles the bit from whatever it was, so it just flips it over. And we'll get started with, let me get a browser. These scripts. So there's these scripts called Substrate up, which are just, they're actually just shell scripts that like kind of automate the process of starting some new projects. And we're going to use this one, Substrate node new. And it basically like is going to give us a brand new node template that has some basic stuff included already. And then we're going to add a module to do this bit tracker thing that I was talking about. And then if we have time, maybe we'll try to strip out some of the stuff that came with it that we don't need. Let's see if we get that lucky. So I already cloned this at Substrate up, and then the script we wanted was Substrate node new. And there's arguments, but I always forget what they are, so I just let it tell me. All right, the name of the blockchain we're creating, and then our names. So we can do store bit CoLab. Oh, and okay, so this is asking me to sign a commit because it's going to create a new Git repository for us. So let's see here. It downloaded the project, customizing project, initial repository. Oh, I didn't remember that being a long-running command.
I'm going to start a Big Blue Button conference.
Yeah.
I don't know if Steve and Artie could join. We can collaborate on our node Bob Substrate.
Okay.
And get this to work.
So do I need to sign into Mattermost or the Open Learning like yesterday?
I can ping you.
Okay.
Let's see if I.
Do you want to share, Jim? So, because I'm not totally sure. Big Blue Button is for like working together, like co-working.
Yeah, it's a Zoom replacement that you run yourself.
Oh,
it's really awesome. You know, it'll keep it'll keep notes in line with the video so that you can watch them together.
Oh, interesting.
And stuff, and you can do. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with it. I mean, it has its own whiteboard and drawing tools and things.
Oh, nice. I saw Zoom has a whiteboard too, but it kind of sucks. I haven't really had very much luck getting people to be able to like use it together.
Yeah, actually, you can use Zoom and Big Blue Button at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you want to join the CoLab. I'll pause the video. Oops, where am I? Let me share my screen here. Oops, that's not share screen. Here's the share screen. Okay, so I go over to Open Learning, and I'm going to go into the CoLab channel. Open Learning is here. Is that what I'm in? Yeah. And I'm in the CoLab channel. Okay, so all I have to do is click this big blue button here.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Create big blue button meeting. Okay. Okay. It's no, and this shows the status of the meeting. It shows who's in it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can ping people. Steve Henley, Aviation, Hacker, and
I don't know if I'm in this. What app is this, Jim?
this is Open Learning, which we're trying to cooperate with the Open Learning Commons and the CoLab.
Oh.
And we are, what are we doing? Building an app?
Yeah. Building a blockchain runtime.
Building a blockchain
Yeah.
with Substrate?
Yeah.
And then we can say all are welcome to join.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and then I can join meeting, I think. Okay, and then it does this microphone thing. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. I don't know, I didn't hear myself, but it's working. Okay, so this is like the standard slide here. I can go to other slides and I can start to do stuff. Okay, and I think you may have to claim host down here to draw. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you can blank this whole thing out. You know, if you but we can look at that later. If I go over here and we look in the CoLab in the Open Learning channel, our bridge should be working.
Oh, this was that bridge.
Holy mackerel, what is this? I don't know why it's just all. Okay. I'm way back in the history here. I don't know what all this stuff is. Well, we can see the people who joined the Open Learning from here too. Um, big blue button. Okay, so you can't join the big blue button from here.
Yeah. Is that long string like a unique ID or something though? Like maybe I could take it to their website.
I think you have to go into the open learning and hit the button. There is a way you could make a public thing with big blue button, but it's like an add-on that we didn't install.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have anybody else in here? Yes, we have Steve Henley in there. Adi? Okay, so then you can enable your webcam, but not while you have the webcam open in Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, we can start the recording. Okay, and that that starts recording, and I can turn off my webcam here. Now I want to mute my microphone on here, unfortunately, because if I mute you have to mute your microphone on either Zoom or Big Blue Button.
Is this was getting us to a place where we could like code together?
Not really. I mean, you can do the share screen.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so we're not quite there.
Yeah.
But cancel. I'm not going to share both. I'm not going to. I don't need to share the screen both ways.
Yeah.
And who do we have?
That's Steve coming back in.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't want to take up time here, but we can minimize this the screen. And the thing is, I will share my screen here, and I'll eliminate this thing here.
Oh, this is really trippy.
That thing happens here. Okay, and I can then make this full screen. Oops. What is this doing? I think this is too trippy for me.
I think if you go to another like tab, it'll get less trippy.
Yeah, it looks like something. My video got really screwed up here, probably because of the cursive thing. But if I share, oh, I know what to do. Cancel. I'll just move this screen over here, and then I'll share. Sorry, I didn't plan to take on this much time. Bring up my. I guess I don't have it open. My R node Bob. And I guess give me the link to that script that you're running. I assume it's finished by now. How come we can't find our node Bob? Oh, this is called our node test also. You can hear me, Joshy?
Oh, sorry, I've been muted for a long time. I didn't realize it. Yeah, I'm following with you.
Oh, okay. So you put the link in there for me.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I said this so many times that it's because I was muted. I think if you've done Substrate on this server before, you might have this script installed already.
Okay, so what do I do to update? Not hearing anybody speak.
Gary needs to activate his microphone.
Oh, you have to join. Gary has to Gary is in
Big blue button, I think.
big blue button, but he's not in. He's not in.
Gary, can you hear me?
Yes,
but you don't, Jim. Okay. See, I can hear Jim.
Yeah, tell Gary to join Zoom. Join my.
Oh, Gary, Jim said to
Here.
join Zoom.
Okay.
Hey, Adi, does that remind you of like aircraft on the ground can't hear home base, and so an aircraft in the air is relaying radio messages?
Yeah.
Kind of does, yeah.
Steve can hear me. And
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, roger that. Hopefully we get Gary.
But no, in order to hear Gary on the recording, he has to join Zoom.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a recording. We're recording on Big Blue Button either, but I think we'll probably throw that away. Oh, I timed out. Why am I slow? Start session. I think I got the password wrong. Nope. Usually I think I got it right and I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a substrate directory.
Yeah, Jim, we're not even going to need to be in this one actually, because what we're doing today is using Substrate to build our own blockchain. So we're going to build our own node just from their start. So like we'll end up this script we're going to run creates our own directory for us.
Okay, so what script do I run?
So try substrate-up, and if it's not there, then I give you the link for where you can clone it. Or sorry, it's that was wrong. Sorry, I said it wrong. It's substrate-node-new, but that's like all the name of the program, not flags. You know what I mean? Like the whole
substrate-node.new.
Dash new. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so you do have it already. That's great. So then the proper usage is substrate node new. Whatever thing we're building. So I called it bit store runtime.
What is it?
I called this one bit store runtime. Yeah.
Bit store runtime, like one word?
Yeah. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but yeah, that's exactly what I called it, just like that. Yeah, and then it's gonna want an author name there too. I just put CoLab.
It didn't ask for one.
Well, it gave you the usage. Like that command didn't actually create anything for us.
Usage substrate new name author.
Yeah.
Oh, author. And what did you say?
I did CoLab. Yeah, but yeah, that's perfect.
CoLab. Sounds good.
Nice. Now we're talking.
Now it's taking off where you left off. So I'll turn the screen share.
Okay. Nice. Cool.
And on the big blue button, I'll share your screen.
Nice, yeah.
I'll share the Zoom screen.
We're going to be doing some interesting experiments in latency on this call.
Well, the thing is, tonight, what I was hoping to do is while Blockspace is having their Zoom running our node, I was hoping to get some people running. They're running our node on IBM Cloud.
Oh, wow. Blockspaces is?
Blockspace,
So,
yeah.
Chris Williams is going to join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So with as Blockspaces, we have a partnership with IBM, so we get free IBM Cloud service.
Yeah.
So we're going to use that benefit to start setting up nodes. So the first node we want to set up is an R node. Get familiar with that, and then what we can do in the future is, we'll want to set up other nodes, so we can set up a substrate, a pocket node, and whatever else we're game for. So
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. So tonight is the night, like, Chris is going to set one up and like join it into the RChain testnet?
Right. So we're going to do what we can to kind of walk through everyone who's on the call to start to get familiarized with setting up an R node. So it's kind of in preparation for R node testing on Thursday. So, I've sat through numerous Thursday sessions, but I've never actually set up an R node. So, so this Monday night session is kind of to work with a group that's don't have the skills as that Thursday group, to kind of work through the mechanics getting a node set up. So, come in Thursday, you feel a little bit more prepared.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So what the hope is, this will be a reoccurring. So we're going to call it Node Mondays. So it's and we'll advertise it on the blockspaces.io website and also in meetups. But it's going to be a Zoom session. Now, I guess the caveat would be, for Blockspaces members, they'll be able to get a free IBM Cloud service. For non-Blockspaces members, certainly anyone can join Blockspaces. It has other benefits as well. But I think Jim's thought is for the non-Blockspace members to work with DigitalOcean. So this is the first time we're all going to getting together. So how it all kind of works out, is remain to be seen. I'm supposed to use the Blockspaces Zoom account, but I can't seem to activate that, and I haven't gotten any assistance from Blockspaces, so I'm still challenging with that. But we'll figure something out. But come 7 o'clock, we'll be, and I'll post the links in the different sessions.
You can always use my room.
Well, that's what I was thinking as a backup. Yeah. Thanks, Jim. Because this first time we're a little bit disorganized, but it's going to take a week or two to kind of get into a rhythm.
Is it going to be a weekly thing? Mondays at 7?
Yeah, that's the goal. Jim and I, we started this maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it kind of turned into more of a the business aspect of setting up nodes, but it was just the two of us. But now with this IBM partnership, Chris has gotten energized with it, and then Jeremy Beals and we have another member, Mila, who's here in the Tampa Bay area. She's really good on the command line. So we've got a few others that hopefully will at some point join up. So I think we'll get strength in numbers.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And they're going to be focusing mostly on how to get the IBM platform set up and working, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for the first session, we got to get overcome that obstacle.
Right.
And
so
yeah.
while they're going through that, we can watch that, and at the same time, get our node working on our node Bob.
Yeah.
And if perchance we both get nodes working, I want to run a test of my sequential thing where the get ticket, they do a get ticket on their node, we do a get ticket on our node,
Yeah.
and then we see what happens.
That's a cool idea. That's real testing in the wild right there. Different nodes and different systems, simultaneous queries.
I don't think we'll get there today.
Yeah. With time though.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a good point, Jim, is to kind of, during our call, kind of set up a roadmap for the types of testing or situations we want to create. So, you know, the get call or whatever you mentioned. So if you can remember that, remind me later on we'll sort of capture these types of different scenarios we're interested in exploring. So as we get more proficient, you know, we can, you know, start to do these more creative type of things.
Yeah, and your camera's working on both sides.
Okay.
It works on both sides. I hope I don't get too confused microphone back and forth. I think you'd just be watching the the block spaces thing mostly while we were futzing with the other thing. So, you know, we would all be on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can certainly talk about those things. We just have to make sure I got the right microphone turned on.
Yeah, we're getting our game is gone up a level.
Yeah. Yeah, some new XP points.
Yeah, and we're taking up all the time here. Where are we, Joshy?
All right, let's write this thing. So I think yours is probably still building. This is what that substrate node new is going to give us. It gives us a directory structure where we've got a couple of folders. One is called scripts. That has stuff we've seen before when we were just running nodes, not even writing our own. So we have like init.sh and build.sh. Those we've used before to update our Rust tools and build our WASM binaries. And then the part we care about is here in runtime, runtime source. And there's a file in there called lib.rs. So lib.rs, whenever you're writing a library crate in Rust, it's called lib.rs. That's like the main file. And this file, you know, it imports a lot of other stuff and uses other stuff, but this is like the thing that is basically defining our runtime for our blockchain. So it uses a whole bunch of, so these are like some kinds of standard imports and stuff. Like I know that Jay was talking about Serday, and I also didn't know how to pronounce it, so I was glad to hear him say that too. So like some parity stuff, RSTD. So this is like, in some places you can't use the standard library. Like anything we're going to compile down to WASM, we can't use the standard library. In fact, you can see like in some places they're even saying no standard library. But okay, let's get ahead to the important part. So like, here's where, oh no, that's not where it is. There's a spot, there's somewhere here, decal module. Oh, I sure thought that was going to be in here. Oh, maybe it's called declare module. Oh no, wow. So, okay, all right, we're getting pretty close here. So there's all these different like runtime modules that make up we've basically got the node template right now, which is what we ran before. It has all these different runtime modules in it. We're going to add one that does the bit store and then maybe remove some of these. But you can see that for each runtime module, we have to implement its trait. So like one of the modules is called Aura. That's our block production. So we implement its trait. One is called consensus. That abstracts some things that happen with consensus. So you can, that's for the pluggable consensus. So we can swap out Aura, Grandpa, hash graph, whatever. Indices is not that interesting of one. Timestamp is a pretty interesting one. This is how we get time in the blockchain. Balances, that's the one that gives everyone a token balance, acts like a cryptocurrency. So here, oh, this is the one I was thinking of, construct runtime. That's the macro I wanted. Okay, so here we can see we're going to implement the template trait. And so there's this other file over here called template.rs. That's where we're going to write our runtime. So if we make that trait more advanced as we're writing our runtime, we'll have to come back over here and implement all those more advanced features. But for now, we don't have to do that. And then construct runtime. This is what for some reason I was thinking it was called declare or something like that. But construct runtime, this is where you actually say like, okay, end of all the setup is done. Our runtime has these things in it. That's what they are. So I'm going to start by just renaming this file to what did we call this again? Bitstore.rs. And so now we can do all the appropriate like renaming in here. Bitstore, that looks good. And I think there's one more at the top where we actually bring that module into scope. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. Okay. So this lib.rs that composes all the stuff together to make our runtime, I've just modified it to include one more runtime module called bitstore. And now we're going to go ahead and actually write bitstore. So this is, as it says, like a runtime module template with all the necessary imports. There's some docs and stuff like that. And oh yeah, right. And so I said every module has a trait. This is where we define our trait. Substrate convention, or I think it's more of a rule than a convention, but the trait that your module exports always has to be named trait, which is a little trippy to me, but that's what we do. It says add other types and constants required to configure this module. Ours is pretty simple, so I don't think we're going to have to do that. But here's where we are going to have to start making some changes. So decal storage, we get to explicitly declare any storage items that our module is going to want to store on the blockchain. So like any data that goes in the blocks and gets stored there permanently, we have to declare it as fields here. This is kind of like analogous to database schema or something like that. So we're doing this bit store thing, right? We talked about how it's only going to store a single bit of data. So I'm going to first get rid of this comment because it's not just dummy. We're actually going to use it. I'm going to keep their example in case we want to refer back to it. And then we have a single bit that our module stores. And we can call it bit. So this is a macro, and the syntax is kind of custom here, but I'm finally getting the hang of it. So this is the name of our storage value, bit, like, or something, for example, or in the balances module, like this would have been called user balances, and it's a map from user, like addresses to integers, where the integer is the balance. And so the simplest way this can look is something like this, where you give it a name and a type. And I think that actually is sufficient to compile. In fact, maybe we should see if it is.
Wouldn't you need to declare stuff in the trait above? The to-do is to add other types and constants required to configure this module?
Yeah, a better comment would be like this, if any are necessary.
Yeah.
So I think ours is simple enough that we don't need any of those. It's not all clear in my head yet, so it might be that we come back and do some of this. But I think we can write our storage, and then over here in decal module, this is where we write all of our like dispatchable calls is what they call them, but it's basically like the calls that users can make from outside the blockchain.
I'm forgetting in Rust you don't have to declare anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this was Java, we would have to put everything up above and below.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see if that compiles. It might. I'm not sure. I'm gonna just kill this one. Oh, it's so close to done. Maybe I won't kill it. So we're just gonna. Oh yeah. So I guess first of all we have to make sure our Rust tools are up to date. Okay, good. Then we can build the WASM. So this is the part that doesn't use any standard environment stuff.
So you ran scripts init.shell?
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't actually do anything with your code. That just makes sure you have like the latest Rust WASM tools and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have this thing's still building here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense for me to try to run this or not, but it's good to reinforce these steps.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I'm wondering if we should keep going or if we should just chill while that builds. I guess it's getting a pretty good clip now, but.
Oh, you're building again?
Well, the reason I'm building it is because I wanted to confirm that what I wrote here compiled.
Right.
So, like, I'm expecting it to tell me if I made any like typos or forgot to change the name to BitStore anywhere over here. I'm expecting it to like check my syntax here, make sure I didn't like mess anything up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe we'll just keep going, and then if we get error messages, we'll go back and fix them as we go. One thing I wanted to say in here is that there's this syntax where if you want this bit or whatever it is that we're storing to be accessible to anyone, like if you want to be able to query the node and say, hey node, what is the value of this bit that we stored? Then you can, there's shorthand for writing a getter function, and we can just call it like this. So that will automatically create a function called getBit for us, and it will read out the whatever bit this one Boolean value that we've stored.
Exactly, sugar, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to create something like function getBit, which takes an origin. The origin is basically like whoever called it. You know, it's going to be like my address or public key or something, and then it's going to give back a bool, and that bool is going to be whatever was stored in here. So, all right, cool. So that's good. So that was all in Decal storage. Makes total sense. We've only got one storage field. In Decal module, this is where we put all of our dispatchable calls. So there's this one special one, which I just don't mess with. It says this is needed if you're using events in your module. So like with our chain, they don't really have a concept of events, or they don't really have one yet. But with Ethereum and with Substrate, there's this concept of emitting an event, which is almost just like logging that something happened in the history. Like if you replay the blockchain, you see all these events that happened over time.
Yeah, in Robot, you know, I'm using a kind of a bogus syntax now, but you know, I'm thinking that ultimately, you know, if you return, you know, if you print something in the log,
yeah,
and then sign it, you can. It's essentially the same as an Ethereum event.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty useful. I was excited to hear Chris say he was thinking maybe that would get added into our chain at some point.
Well, you know, I mean, in the Ethereum, it's just a log entry, so
yeah,
it's not like anything has to be added, except you have to have a you know, a pattern or a convention for how you want the events handled. And that, you know, that should be good. I mean, you can have your own convention, and then you're not going to notice anybody else's events.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So this one just allows us to use events. If you don't want to use any events, you can get rid of it, but we're going to have one called toggle, so I'm going to keep it. Oh, yeah, right. And then, so this is their example again. It's a function called do something. You always have, or not always, but so far, in what I'm explaining so far, you always have this origin, which is like who called it, someone's public address, and then, you know, any parameters that you actually need. So in their example, they're just like taking in a U32, an unsigned 32-bit integer. So we're going to do basically this same thing. We're going to make a public function, and we'll call this one set. It takes in an origin, and that's it. And in Substrate, these dispatchable functions always have to give back a result. And a result is kind of like an either type. It's either, it has two variants. The one variant is okay, which means like, hey, this thing succeeded. It did what you wanted. Or it has error, which is parametric in some, I think just a string, and or some kind of thing that represents an error and encapsulates an error message. So, okay, cool. So it's like, well, what are we doing here? Well, first of all, we said we wanted to make sure that someone actually called this from outside the blockchain. So make sure this call actually came from a person. And that way you do that is this ensure signed thing. All right. Oh, and I think that's the right syntax, but I still struggle with some of the syntax, partly because I'm new to Rust and partly because I can never remember what's a macro and what's a function. But I think that's right. So this thing is, if origin is not a signature from an actual like blockchain user, then ensure signed fails, and you know, that error bubbles up, so set fails. So then nothing happens. And the common pattern in Substrate, and I guess in most blockchains, but I just have learned it here, is like you have to check all of the things that could possibly go wrong, and only once you're sure that like all of your preconditions are met and everything's safe, then you can start to actually modify your blockchain storage. Because if you do it out of order and you like change some storage and then you get some kind of error, then whatever, you know, then you're not going to be able to cleanly roll back that whole transaction. Like whatever you wrote to storage will already be in storage at that point. So, okay, so cool. So we checked our one thing to make sure it came from a person. And then at this point, all we have to do is actually set that bit. And I think the syntax is like this. And we'll have to see. And like this is Rust syntax, and I'm not 100% clear on what it means. Like the angle brackets T mean that this bit thing is parametric, and some trait I think that we called T, and for some reason doing this allows us to refer to the bit value or allows us to refer to whatever we put in our storage. Like that example they had up here was they had a field called something, and then in their modifier thing they had this something T. So we're basically doing the same thing. So we're going to try to set that to true, and then we're going to return. Oh yeah, you don't do that in Rust. You just do this. Okay. Return success. All right, cool. So that's our set function. Let's see how our build's going up here. Oh, still going. No failures yet. All right, cool. So we'll do something like this. Pub function clear origin. It's going to give back a result. And it'll be similar. Make sure it came from a person. And return success. All right, that looks good. I think I heard my fan slow down, so probably our build is done. All right, here we go. So we've got some Rust compiler errors. That's just a warning, that's no problem. Failed to resolve use of undeclared type or module template in lib.rs line 195. So that means I probably forgot to update one of them. What line? 195. think that's what it was telling me about. And then, oh yeah, that looks like the same one. Oh, okay, no function or associated item set found. So set was the wrong method. So it's telling me it doesn't like this. So let's just say like to do, what is that method called? And we'll dig into where you can find that out in a second. Let's just see if I fixed all my other errors first. Oh, that's not that much faster, darn it. I thought we were gonna get to start like all the way over here. All right, well that goes. Since I couldn't remember the name of how to store that that Boolean value, we're going to check out crates.parity.io. And this is like the RustDoc tool generates this. So these docs are generated from source code itself and from special like comments that are formatted correctly in the source code. And I just happen to know that what we're looking for right now is called storage value. There we go. Between compiling Rust, streaming video, and doing web queries, my laptop's really struggling. Okay, cool. So storage value, a trait for working with macro-generated storage values under the Substrate storage API. That's exactly what we're doing. But by macro-generated, it was this macro called decal storage. And you know it's a macro because of the exclamation point, right? It looks like a row length send. That's how you know it's a macro. Okay, so there's all of these required methods, I guess. Oh, mutate might be what we ultimately want to do. Oh, or put. So let's just see. We want to implement the implementation for, oh. I thought we were going to see it specifically for like bool and int and stuff, but I guess that's abstracted away as you. So I think maybe put is what we want. So instead of set, we're going to try put. Oh, grr, that's still building. All right, well, that's okay. We can just keep chugging along in the meantime because we've got another one of these to do. Function, toggle, origin, gives back a result. And it'll start the same. But now it gets different because now we want to actually see what the storage value is, and then we want to set the new the storage value to be whatever the other thing actually is. So we want to do, oh, and remember we gave it this name. We made this convenient name called getBit, so we can actually call that function. We can do it like this. Let old equal so getBit. I think that just gives us back a simple Boolean. And just in case I'm wrong, because you never know, like sometimes things give you back an option or something like, or you know, you don't know if you're getting exactly a Boolean. So since I'm still kind of new to this stuff, I like to give the type checker as many clues as I can so that if there's a mistake, it finds it. So now I'm telling it like, hey, type system, I'm expecting old to be a Boolean. So if this thing on the right side gives me something other than a Boolean, give me a type error on this line instead of like somewhere later that's going to confuse me. And then I guess just to be kind of clear here, we'll say let new equal not old. And then we'll actually write to the storage. So now we can do bit t put new, and return okay. All right. All right, so now I'm going to stop changing my code for a second because we're almost to the point where we're going to compile these actual files. So maybe I'll just let it go in peace.
Josh, with this code that you're working on, will you save it to your GitHub account, or where would we be able to find it in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm going to get it to a version that is like something minimal that compiles, and then I'll check it in. And I think a good place to look is going to be here. Oh yeah, so there's github.com/substrate developer hub with dashes. And the main repository this is where we host the actual like Substrate documentation. But also in this organization, there's just a bunch of like examples and stuff. So like there's this contracts workshop, there's the CryptoKitties workshop, just a bunch of other, sample runtimes. Like there's a token curated registry one. So I'll probably check mine in here.
Okay.
It'll be like Substrate Developer Hub /BitStore runtime. And I'll actually post that link on Discord once I check it in up there.
Okay.
Oh, hooray, it compiled. Check that out. So we're good to go on that front. So you know what? Actually, what that means, Steve, is that now is the right time to call it a day, and the last thing will be to check that in.
All right.
So I'll call it BitStore runtime. Bit simple first runtime. Create. And I'll copy the link. I'll do git remote add origin, that thing. All right. So cargo.lock is just like your package JSON.lock in the Rust world. We will definitely want to add all that runtime stuff. That's the main work we did. I think that'll do it. Nice. And this was something that I was working on before we started that maybe will be relevant, but definitely is not part of the actual code. Git commit -m. Declared one Boolean in storage and wrote a few dispatchable calls. I'll sign that. And I'll push it. Boom. All right, nice. All right, guys. It's top of the hour, so you want to call it a day there?
Yeah, good stopping point. This was great, Joshy. So it's a nice diversion from the Archain world. Learned something new.
Yeah, nice. Nice. It's always a good day too when the code compiles at the end of the hour.
Good.
Yeah.
So
my build finally finished.
Oh, nice.
It takes a lot longer, I guess, on DigitalOcean than I knew.
Yeah.
Now, with your Monday substrate hours, I think you were saying last Monday that you're going to have alternating weeks. So for next Monday, what do you plan?
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be alternating weeks, and so next Monday is going to be at noon our time in that same other Zoom room that Parody gave me, and then like alternating weeks. So like 2 weeks from now and 4 weeks from now, we'll be here in Jim's room at 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You mean content-wise, what did I have planned?
No. So I just wanted to go over that. So we probably, for our session 2 weeks from now, maybe just pick up from where we left off with this, or
great. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Josh. We appreciate you doing some instructing for us today.
I love it when you guys come and listen. It always gives me extra motivation to finally figure out how stuff works.
Well, the best way to learn is to teach.
Yeah, totally.
So in the meantime, we were playing here with our whiteboard.
Nice.
And we did a poll on has a poll and puts it on puts the results on the board.
Smoke break one, huh?
So one thought, we're incorporating some new tools, and we're not exactly sure, how they're going to fit in, but just throwing out some thoughts, for rolling, for your rolling hours, it's being able, if we can somehow capture that information in the notes, maybe in Blue Button or a tool, so that could be moved over to the rolling.org and maybe have that sort of content building there. So I'm just thinking, with the rolling hours, how can we capture that information and get that onto the rolling.org website? How we're going to do that, I don't know, but that's a goal.
Let me show you one thing just for a minute here, because I'm not sure if you've seen it, Steve. And it's at rolang.org/wiki. Or it might be wiki.rolang.org, I'm not sure. Yeah, here it is. So we have this thing for office hours. There it is, office hours every Tuesday. And for a while, we were keeping a running tally of all the times we've met and linking the video, and some of these, that's a pretty short description, but some of them have all the code snippets and stuff. But
Okay.
I stopped doing it mostly because it seemed like more effort than it was worth. But it's definitely still there if you're feeling like keeping notes on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's how everything takes time and effort, and that's the challenge of when you have to go. Well, I don't know what the answer is, but it's. But if we certainly if we gather the information, it's there for us in the future, but also for the new people coming in a year from now who want to learn about this magical, mysterious syntax Rolang. So just throwing out some ideas, but good deal.
Now, I'm trying to keep notes of everything that happens in the CoLab log. And if you'll notice, Adi's been taking some notes there.
Oh, nice.
I put in, I don't know why the video link is gone, but I actually have a link to where parts of the video minutes, which I copied from the okay, if we put in notes, into here, like when you put in 4:30, 31:20, it highlights it.
Okay.
So I can just copy and paste that into the notes.
Right. Yeah, little things like that. Those are
Okay, so
helpful.
I do love those timestamp links, by the way.
Yeah.
I love those timestamp links.
Yeah. And, this is the thing of going back into every video and put them back in.
It's right again, matter of effort.
Yeah.
I sort of made everyone an admin of the channel.
Yeah.
So that other people could do it, but nobody's doing it. I mean, that's the first time I've done it in ages.
Yeah.
And not so much use. But you can see that, most of the sessions we have. So here we have your Rolang and what was in there. The notes aren't that great. But this log turns out to be so useful because I can just do Control F.
Yeah.
And find something that happened in the past, or actually at least the current year or whatever.
Yeah.
It's in this one document, or maybe more. But it's just one more thing to maintain. But this is where I sort of want to keep breadcrumbs, and then we can put the breadcrumbs where they belong.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I mean, I have to say, like, since I don't know how long I've been hanging out here, almost a year at this point, I guess, but like, it's so nice to have a memory in my head of something like, oh, Tomislav talked about blank in CoLab, and I think it was in November or December, and scroll through your DiviDAO channel, just looking at titles and like have a chance of getting back to it. That's so amazingly helpful. Like I love it.
Well, if you can't find it in the YouTube channel, check the log.
Yeah, nice.
Because that's how I found your status app.
Yeah, nice.
Mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Good chatting.
All right.
Thanks for substrating with me.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.